The blood had already begun to dry when I found her. It clung to the edge of her vanity mirror, the same one where she used to rehearse smiles for her followers. The house was too quiet, except for the faint hum of a phone still recording, streaming a blank wall to an audience that didn't know she was gone. The smell of gunpowder lingered, sharp and metallic, mixing with her perfume, sweetness drowned in smoke. Her mother's voice echoed from the hall, broken syllables that didn't sound human anymore. I should have called the police. Instead, I just stood there, counting the seconds since her last breath, wondering if she'd known it was him. The front door wasn't forced. The lights were on. And somewhere, between love and ego, a life had been erased as quietly as closing a tab. They called it a crime of passion. I called it a pattern. The kind that starts with silence and ends with blood. The detectives came and went, speaking in codes. Forced entry negative, suspect known to victim. But I already knew who they meant. He'd been circling her for months, orbiting her light like a dying star. Every time she said no, his voice grew colder, his eyes darker. I scrolled through her messages that night, timestamps that didn't fit, calls that went unanswered, a photo she'd never meant to send. There was a voice note too, 2 minutes long, half deleted, her tone shaking. He said if I don't answer, he'll come here. They told me to stay out of it, but I couldn't. I wasn't just her friend, I was the one who told her it would be fine, that he was bluffing. And now, all I had were pieces, a timeline that refused to stay still. Grief isn't loud, it's methodical. Every day I replayed the night frame by frame, her last text, her final story, the echo of her laughter hours before it stopped. People said it was fate, but I knew better. Fate doesn't send warning messages. Men do. The police questioned him, briefly. He smiled through it, his arrogance rehearsed. His father had connections. His family had reputation. He walked out free, polished and unbothered, while her name trended for all the wrong reasons. Friends began to distance themselves. The whispers grew. Maybe she provoked him? Maybe it was complicated. Lies, reshaped into comfort. But I couldn't forget her fear that last night. I'd heard it in her voice, the crack between words, the pause before goodnight. And every time I closed my eyes, I saw him, his hand on the gun, his pride disguised as pain. I wasn't sure anymore if I wanted justice or revenge. It happened quietly. Truth always does. Her old phone, sealed in evidence, was returned weeks later. I couldn't help it. I turned it on. Inside, one unsent message blinked at me like a ghost. It was meant for me. If anything happens, it's him. Check the footage. I found it, the camera near her gate, half covered in dust. But the feed was clear enough. He was there, calm, precise, 2 minutes before the shots. His face, unmasked, emotionless. I sat there watching the screen, my pulse slowing instead of racing. No shock, no tears, just a hollow understanding this was never about love. It was about power, the kind men wield when rejection feels like insult. I took the footage, labeled it neatly, and placed it in an envelope. For once, I didn't feel grief. I felt purpose, sharp and surgical. The truth wasn't for the police anymore. It was for the world. I waited until his engagement announcement, public, glittering, and televised. Cameras, lights, smiles. That's when I sent it. The footage, the messages, the voice note, all of it, uploaded, scheduled, broadcast live before he could blink. He froze mid-speech, laughter dying on his tongue, as the screen behind him flickered. Her face, her voice, the sound of 2 gunshots cutting through the applause. Silence swallowed the room whole. I watched from a distance, calm as a surgeon. There was no need to run. The internet doesn't lie. Within hours, his name turned from celebration to accusation. His family's silence was louder than any confession. Justice didn't come from the law. It came from exposure. Truth stripped bare in front of everyone he'd ever tried to impress. He didn't look powerful anymore. He looked small. Weeks passed. The city moved on, as it always does. Her posters faded on street walls. Her followers found new faces to adore. But sometimes, late at night, I still check her old account, the one frozen in time, mid-laughter. They say justice was served. I say justice was never enough. Nothing brings back what pride destroys. I walk past her house sometimes. The windows are sealed now, the curtains drawn. But in the silence, I still hear it, that faint click, that breath before the shot. People think I did this for her. Maybe once I believed that too. But the truth is simpler. I did it because someone had to remind him. Honor dies the moment it kills.